This year for spring break, we decided to catch a flight and go visit a friend in Kenya. We caught a flight early Sunday morning to Nairobi. When we arrived late on Monday afternoon, we were exhausted. All we really had the energy to do was sit and read by the pool at the hotel. In this video, we'll drive north from the capital to two conservancies, Laikipia Wilderness Camp and Old Pejeta. On Tuesday morning, we got up bright and early and headed north from Nairobi to Old Doinyo Lemboro Conservatory. We stopped along the way at the trout tree to get a delicious lunch of fried fish. The pasta seemed to be the favorite dish, but everything we tried was yummy. Along the way to the Laikipia Wilderness Camp, it stormed heavily and the road was perilous. But we also saw some impalas, lots of birds, zebras, and even a few giraffes. It was an eventful drive. We arrived at Laikipia Wilderness Camp. Quick tour of our tent here. So, got the flap. Mosquito nets around the bed. And then unzip here to step into the bathroom that is open air. A little shower over here. And there's the bathroom. And then head out on our first safari. And my goodness, was that safari eventful. We started down the road and saw some giraffes and elephants. And then after tracking and failing to get really a good sighting of a leopard, we hit the jackpot and saw a leopard wandering around with multiple good viewings. We also got to see a lion after dark. What an incredible first day. It was just amazing. We were exhausted by the time we got to dinner, barely made it through, and headed right to bed. Wednesday was our second and unfortunately our only full day here at Laikipia Wilderness Camp. We got up bright and early again, a few minutes before 6, to head into our first safari of the day. We've settled into the safari rhythm, waking up early, getting a light breakfast and going for a game drive before a brunch, and then a nap, and then an evening game drive heading into dinner. It is a wonderful way to spend a day. Our morning game drive was amazing yet again. We started out with a few elephants and pursuing then a hyena, and we eventually caught up with another leopard. This time we had a wonderful close sighting with the leopard hanging out right underneath the tire of our car. Looking up at our driver's leg and staring us down as we took pictures of it from above. It was amazing. And then after that, Nika and I got dropped off for a quick walking safari along the river. We tracked some hyenas and also saw lots of prints from elephants, lots of elephant dung, and then saw the trails of the hippopotamuses. It was fun to track them along the river, and as we were heading through the tall grass, we heard the loud call of a hippopotamus, scaring us a little, before we made it out into the open and saw all the hippos in the river and caught up with the rest of our group. After that, we had some brunch and then headed back to the lodge for our afternoon nap. On Wednesday afternoon, we had one of the best game drives we've had thus far. We saw a leopard when we started, but it was a little too crowded. And after that, we drove around a little bit and saw around one of the bends a baby leopard cub. We watched the cub and his mother playing together for a good 15 or 20 minutes. It was beautiful to watch, just incredible. After that, we had time to pull over to the side of the road for a sundowner. After following a leopard for a few minutes, we heard in the darkness a "meow" and a snap that I'll never forget. We saw the leopard emerging from the bushes with his dinner, a baby impala. As we were tracking the leopard, we saw in the bushes something even better, the rare black leopard giza. It was amazing to get a chance to see her, and a wonderful way to end the day. Thursday morning dawned crystal clear, and we could see the top of Mount Kenya before we headed out on our quick game drive. After breakfast, we headed west to Old Pejeta. We reached the north gate of Old Pejeta after about an hour and a half of driving, but unfortunately Google Maps led us astray. The north gate wasn't open. We had to drive more than 90 minutes around to get back to about a mile away from where we tried to enter. It wasn't all bad. We got to explore Old Pejeta on the drive, and Old Pejeta is what I dreamed Africa would look like. It's wide open, with trees and animals everywhere. We saw Cape buffaloes, we saw giraffes and rhinos, and tons of other animals. When we finally got to Perino Rhino Lodge, we got there late for lunch, but they had it ready for us. And while we ate, we watched a black rhino march past. The staff was ready for us, and we had an evening game drive. We got soaked by the rain, but we pressed through and saw the main attraction. We got a very close view to a pride of lions who were absolutely stuffed after their meal of Cape buffalo. By the time we got back, it was dark. We had a quick dinner and got to bed. Another pride of lions was growling outside by the watering hole as we slept. What beautiful music to sleep to. Friday morning dawned clear yet again. We woke up to coffee and hot chocolate being served at our tent before dawn. We sipped our morning coffee while we snapped pictures and enjoyed the pre-dawn watering hole. Then we hopped in a safari vehicle for a wild ride back across the Conservancy. The driver took us along some extremely muddy back roads, with our vehicle eventually getting stuck. Fortunately, another vehicle came by and we were rescued and made it out. We got to the visitor center in time to be the first in line to see the only 2 northern white rhinos left on Earth, though the Conservancy is trying to bring them back. Then we met Baraka, the blind rhino, who had somehow escaped from his enclosure. And then we had a quick breakfast before heading out from the Conservancy. After stopping at the equator for a quick photo op, we drove back towards Nairobi to go to visit Solio Ranch Rhino Orphanage and to feed the baby rhinos. It was amazing. Nika even fed a baby Thompson's gazelle. From there, we pointed the car back towards Nairobi, bringing the first part of our trip to a close. Words don't do justice to what we just saw. It doesn't feel real. Safari so far has felt very English, with traditions of tea and sundowners and bush meals, and a very rigid schedule to the day. We really enjoyed it. LWC was amazing. Standing on top of the hill overlooking the Conservancy, it felt like we were looking down into a diorama with little safari vehicles and herds of animals moving by. It didn't seem like it was the real world at all. It was incredible, and we got so close to the animals we just couldn't believe it. Old Pejeta was incredibly full of life. You can't help but see 4 of the big 5 wandering by your car. Harini was a lovely property, and the views of the watering hole made us wish that we had stayed longer. And that concludes the northern portion of our Kenya tour. Next up is the Masai Mara, and then on to Amboseli before finishing in Nairobi. But that is a story for our next video.